This might be a hot take. I don't know if it's a hot take or not anymore at this point. Brock Purdy maybe not getting a contract by the 49ers in the offseason. This was thought to be the guy that was going to maybe get 60 mil a year, be the highest paid quarterback in the league, not because he's the number one, but because that's how the scale goes, the progressive scale, where a quarterback gets the most money and then QBs 1, 2, 3, 4 climb over their back like a ladder and get more money the next year and the next year. But there's a chance that Brock Purdy doesn't even get his contract at all from the 49ers, let alone sniffs any sort of top 5 to 10 quarterback amount of money. This is a huge final handful of weeks for him. And his status as of right now, according to Kyle Shanahan, for week 13, not this upcoming week 12, he's out for week 12, but his status for week number 13 is now up in the air, meaning this guy Shanahan led us astray on Christian McCaffrey. This guy Shanahan's led us astray on, I can't tell you how many injuries. He doesn't report injuries properly. He doesn't let us know what the hell is going on. And in football worlds that aren't focused on fantasy football or gaming or DFS, they say things like, oh, they don't care about your fantasy football. And I come in and defend that realm. Why? Because we're the reason these players get paid these kinds of dollar figures. We make up more of the fan base and viewership, the fantasy football, the gaming, the DFS industry. Those people, we're the reason that the industry's blowing up and the reason these guys get paid. And we don't get told anything. And we matter, because if we stopped watching because we didn't get correct information and we threw seasons down the drain upon seasons down the drain because of Christian McCaffrey type Achilles injury news that we don't get at the onset of it, we do all of our drafts, we have all of our picks in for the season, whether it's DFS, whatever, and then they come to us and then they tell us, hey, by the way, not only does he have an Achilles issue, he's got bilateral Achilles tendonitis, Christian McCaffrey. Oh, by the way, Brock Purdy may actually be worse off than we're letting on. That's what I'm expecting. We get one, oh, he's okay. We expect him to be fine. And then we get Shanahan telling us we were pretty shocked to find out that, he wasn't doing well enough. We ruled him out, shut him down for the week. Now he's up in the air for week 13. What's next? That his UCL is having an issue? What's next? Is his UCL having an issue? Is there maybe a problem with the UCL repair? Is it his shoulder? What is it? What else is there that they're not telling us? Shanahan's been absolutely not truthful or forthcoming with information. I don't know for how long now, actually. It's been forever. The Fantasy Football Show. Week 12 start bench show, because we're going to handle all that. We're not just talking about this situation, but it is an interesting topic that I wanted to lead with. Does Brock Purdy get a contract extension from the 49ers in the offseason? You have to forgive me. I'm still getting over my congestion from our flu. Can't even breathe. Does Brock Purdy get his new contract, his extension this offseason, or do the Niners go after a different quarterback, give him something smaller, contract-wise, a short-term deal? It's hard to say. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show.
Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
I mean, the impact to Brock Purdy's receiving crew. What happens with Debo next year? What happens with Debo now? What happens with Jennings right now for week 12, week 13? What happens for Jennings in the future weeks? What happens with Ayuk, who signed a big fat contract and robbed the franchise out of millions and millions and millions of dollars? And he thinks he's a great receiver. He's not. This is going to be wild what happens. Kyle Shanahan is the problem, and I've said that for years. And I always get pushback. I don't see any pushback now, which is fine. I'm not trying to call anybody out. I'm just saying we're not in a place where people are defending this man anymore. We're in a place where I think at least 50% of the fan base in San Francisco wants him gone. They don't just want him maybe gone if he's on the hot seat if he doesn't. No, they want him gone. They're tired of it. And who knows what in the hell Shanahan tries to pull quarterback-wise if this doesn't go the right direction. Now, if Brock Purdy sits out week 12 and his week 13's up in the air, but he comes back, he ends up being okay, he plays week 13, the Niners win, they figure out a way to sneak into the playoffs, Cardinals lose this week or something. And to break that down, just so you guys all know what the scoop is if you're watching this, a week later or something. The Cardinals are 6-4 right here. The Seahawks are 5-5. The Niners are 5-5. It just so happens I have the entire NFC West clumped together right here, and it's not even. It just happens to be this way. The Rams are 5-5. So there's all your NFC West teams: 5-5, 5-5, 5-5, and 6-4. The Cardinals. If the Cardinals lose against the interdivision Seahawk battle, little division, little face off here, and the Niners win somehow, then we're talking about Brock Purdy having a very lucky roadmap created for him to try and maybe get back into the bag. But if the Niners lose this game, they go 5-6. The Cardinals go 7-4, and the Rams somehow win this game and have 6 wins. Cardinals are cooked. I'm sorry, the Niners are cooked. The Cardinals are in the driver's seat. And then you've got like a 3-way race, or maybe even a 2-way race between the Rams and the Cardinals for the division win. And none of those teams are grabbing wild card spots because the wild card races are much more powerful than that. Like those, we're talking about cellar dweller teams there at 5 wins, etc. at that point. So if things turn around for Brock, if the Cardinals lose, the Niners somehow win, or even if they lose, the Cardinals lose, and Brock's able to bring this team back, and it won't even be him, it'll be the team, the surrounding pieces of it, then somehow, some way this man could sneak into a big fat contract extension. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not trying to say this is out. But the one thing I will say is that with Bosa still injured, he'd have to come back. Christian McCafrrey would have to stay healthy and play well. You'd have to have Trent Williams stay healthy, play well. Those are all tall orders, if you ask me. I think Shanahan's on the hot seat. I don't know if Jed York, Niner owner, feels like he can get rid of him. It sounds like their relationship is a lot tighter than what we feel it should be right now, right? But this is business. Maybe he makes a business move. Maybe Ben Johnson says, I want to go to the Niners. You think Ben Johnson's turning down a chance to coach the San Francisco 49ers? Would the Niners turn down a Ben Johnson hire in replacement of a Kyle Shanahan? Tough to say. But I do feel like a lot of what we've said on this channel about Brock Purdy being a little more of a game manager than he is anything close to being an elite player. I mean, he's much closer to being game manager than elite. I'd have to say I feel a little bit like the rest of the world that was not on that train of thinking is now on it, now starting to gravitate toward it. And the whole notion that Kyle Shanahan is not somebody you fire because of how many wins and how many trips to an NFC championship he's brought the organization. I think people are starting to realize that the team was good enough to go no matter what, and that it's Kyle Shanahan that's stepping in the way of the team actually winning. And if you disagree with me, why don't you think about the way that this team almost lost all the way through the playoffs. If you remember, I think I still have last year's playoff bracket. The Niners almost lost to the Green Bay Packers, if you remember. Just barely beat them. The Niners should have lost to the Detroit Lions, but they had an unbelievable whirlwind of luck that allowed this game to flip and turn back in the other direction. The Niners really shouldn't have ever got past this part because of Kyle Shanahan. The coaching here was awful. The coaching here was awful. The coaching here was awful. And it was the team that tried to carry Shanahan on their back. And people just kept attributing everything that's gone on to Shanahan. Is he a good offensive coordinator? Of course he is. Is he consistent? No. But is he a good offensive coordinator? Yes, he is. He's a good offensive coordinator, but he's not a good head coach. And he can get in his own way. Anytime they win and have success, I attribute that to the offensive coordinator inside Kyle Shanahan. Is he a good head coach? Has he made horrible decisions over and over and over with his personnel, with Trey Lance and how he handled that, with Jimmy Garoppolo? Having Jimmy Garoppolo have a goodbye press conference, then bringing him back to start. That whole leaving Trey Lance out to dry and wasting away Trey Lance. He is horrible with personnel and decision making. And I know not everything's up to him contract-wise, but it is part of his plan as well because he supports it. And he says this is how we do it. We address the contracts in the offseason. Deebo Samuel, horrible season the year he held out. They didn't learn their lesson. Look what they did with the Ayuk debacle. And you can blame a lot on Ayuk. I agree. But that was later on. The early stages of the Ayuk contract, before it got out of hand, was on the Niners. Because they weren't going to sign him to an early deal. They kicked around numbers. But they were not going to sign him. They wanted to settle on some things. They'll swing back around. And they would definitely be looking at it. In the August, September territory. Bosa had a real bad first half of the season. His contract holdout year. These Niner decisions in the offseason, he never learns from them. Let's get to the phone lines in a little bit. Let's also get to some drafting. You guys want to draft on Underdog, promo code Smitty. Any super chats that come in, I'll handle in order in which they're received. We're going to start drafting on Underdog, promo code Smitty. Go ahead and open up the Underdog app. Use this link. I'll drop it in the live chat. I think it's pinned already in the live chat right now. Hit that link, and Underdog will match your first deposit 50%. So all the way up to 50%, they will match your first deposit up to $1,000. So what that means is if you drop $50, they'll give you $25. You drop the minimum of $10, they'll give you $5. You drop $2,000, they'll give you $1,000. All the way up to $1,000, they'll match your 50%, and you get a bonus pick in your account, etc., etc. Go into the Underdog app, open up the Battle Royale week number 12, which is going to be the draft tab at the bottom, the lobby tab at the top, and it's going to be probably the fourth card or so. Just swipe through the cards. Battle Royale week 12, $7, $40K to first place. Click the card, click the green button now. We'll do multiple drafts. Don't you worry if you don't get into this draft. Click the link now. The link is again being dropped in the live chat. It's in the description of the video. It's also pinned in the live chat. And your boy is going to be drafting alongside of you. And if you don't get in to my draft, it's okay. We'll draft in another one together. Don't fret. Don't fret at all. We'll do multiple drafts. And let me go ahead and put this on screen here so you guys can see. And then we'll open the phone lines here in a second. I'm sorry if I haven't opened them yet. Draft. There we go. Super chat here by Peanut Butter or Peanut Breath. All you guys with the peanut butter names. It's crazy. 5 and 6. Who do I drop? I need a wide receiver too. JD5, Barkley, Bucky, Devontae Smith, Tillman, Worthy, Disley, Love, Bijan, London, Ingram, Pitts, Denver, Philly. I guess Tillman, bro. I mean, he got hurt, so it makes the most sense. He got hurt, and it's kind of like, what's the pecking order there now? Judy seems to have passed him. Currently starting Trey Benson and Hunter Henry. Sharbs and Pearsall on the bench. Dobbs, Disley, Kraft, and Westbrook Akine. More of a better start this week. Akine's got 5 TDs in the last 6 games, bro. So, guys, hit that link if you want to jump into this draft. I'd probably say Akine and I don't think I trust Pearsall right now. Akine and Dobbs are probably safest. I like Trey Benson a lot, though, bro. I don't drop him. Chat, would you rather have Dobbs, Disley, Kraft, or Benson? I'm going to put Akine in and lock him in. But, chat, what do you think about the rest of that crew? Who would you rather have? I like Benson a lot, but I like Benson for later. I think Dobbs is probably safest, assuming he's healthy and ready to go. We got a Disley vote. You said who to drop. So why list him then, Peanut? Hold on, let me pull it up again. Okay, I mean, you kind of got to drop one of your defenses, and if you don't like that answer, I don't really know what to tell you. The worst player, and it's by far, is Tillman. There's no other player to drop. You can't drop Boswell. You can't drop Tillman, I suppose. You can't drop. You're just going to have to maybe drop your extra defense. If you had to drop a non-defensive player, you probably have to drop Disley and start Pitts. You know what I'm saying, broski? All right, we are on here. If you got any follow-ups, hit me with it. I'll answer back. Let's go. Nico Collins goes 1 overall. Christian McCaffrey goes number 2 overall. Devon Achane goes number 3 overall. Ray G is in the house here at 4. Takes Joe Mixon. It is my turn, and I'm gonna roll with Jahmyr Gibbs. Go Bird is drafting back-to-back. And again, if you guys want to get in on the next draft, just get ready. Well, I'll tell you when we're jumping in. Would I trade Neighbors for Higgins? I would at this point, yes. Tomlin owns Harbaugh, says Togo. I don't know about. We'll see. We'll see, my man. Okay. JJ. Double wides go. Was hoping to get one of those wide receivers, so we'll take a gamble on Tyreek Hill in this game. We'll go Gibbs and Hill. We'll hope this is that bounce back crazy game out of Tyreek Hill, that jumping onto the scene. Don't forget code Smitty, which the link in the live chat that's pinned gets it done. The link I'm dropping right now is the same link. If you want to get in on the next draft, use code Smitty or the link that I just dropped, the link that's pinned, the link that's in the description of the video that uses code Smitty, and you will be able to join this draft with your boy. And the next draft, how we'll do it is I'll tell you to go to the lobby, so you can pull that up now and get ready. Pull it up, have the draft tab at the bottom selected, have the lobby tab selected, and there'll be cards. It's going to be the 4th card, I believe, Battle Royale. I'm going to tell you when to click that and then hit the green button at the same time. That's how you get into a draft with me. First place gets $40K. Phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. Sebastian, you're live. Yellow.
Can you hear me?
What's up?
I just wanted to give my take real quick on the whole Purdy thing. I honestly think they're just gonna let him walk, bro. I don't really see a point, like for them to keep him, because I mean they a couple years ago they made Jimmy Garoppolo look like the second coming of Jesus to like all the fans. So
Come on, they didn't make Jimmy Garoppolo look that. Come on, you're acting like Jimmy Garoppolo was good. Come on, bro.
I'm saying that's what the fans thought. No, he's absolutely pathetic.
Okay, just making sure we're on the same page. Yeah,
no, we're absolutely on.
I don't know what's gonna happen with Purdy, but I don't think he's getting the contract that everybody thinks he's gonna get. Too many things have to happen. One, he's got to come back healthy. He's got to also get them into the playoffs. If he doesn't get them into the playoffs, he's not getting the contract. If he's also injured, he's not getting the contract. If he gets them into the playoffs and they lose in their first game or second game, playoff game, it's going to be really, really tough to know what they're going to do. They might have to make a calculation and say, we're not going to give you 60, we're going to give you 50, and maybe there's some sort of holdout. I don't know how Brock's going to play it, but there is a world where he gets paid, but it's got to be a perfect alignment, and he can't be injured. They can't miss the playoffs. There's too much going on. There's no way you just misused and misappropriated the amount of money you gave to Ayuk, this massive contract. There's no way you can do that again. There's no way. It will be very, very...
And it's hard to see the direction of their franchise, because, I mean, starting next year, I don't know what their identity is going to be. I see them being probably the same or worse, but not bottom 10. I don't think they're going to be contenders next year, so I don't really see the point in signing them. That's a lot of capital and a lot of strings attached when they've been getting good production.
Lexus says, Lexus says, where's the promo code? All over the screen. All over the screen. Code Smitty. Also, use the link, Lexus. It's in the live chat, pinned. It's in the description of the video, and it's also right here. I just dropped it again. But use that code, please. And yes, Code Smitty gets it done. I don't know. We'll have to see. So much depends on if he's gonna need surgery again. And bro, I honestly don't know if maybe he's having another UCL related issue. Keep in mind, what did Christian McCaffrey have? A calf injury. And then later on, when it had to be clarified further, it was a calf injury. Yeah, but he also has bilateral Achilles tendonitis. So could it be something where it's like his shoulder? Yeah. But his UCL is bothering him. It looks like there's a little relapse there, a little damage, further injury to that UCL. Keep in mind the UCL surgery they had with him, I believe, was called a bridge. And what it is basically, here's the UCL that goes straight down the arm, and here's the wrist. So here's the hand, and here's the arm. The UCL goes down the entire arm, and he snapped it right here, or wherever he snapped it, at the elbow. And so instead of having the Tommy John and replacing it, they just did a bridge, I believe, like this. And so we've never really had a quarterback do what Brock Purdy's doing and needing to do for the long term to really test it, to know how it's going to hold up, what it's going to look like. I believe I have that correct, if my memory serves me correct on it. But Brock Purdy, who knows? He's got a shoulder injury, but is it related to this? I don't know. Is it something to do with pain radiating and then they come back and tell us? I don't know. I have a feeling that we don't have the whole story. Let me make my pick here. Hold on real quickly. So my team so far is Jahmyr Gibbs, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Patrick Mahomes, and Jonathan Taylor. Add Mason off waivers? I would, because you don't know what's going to happen with Christian McCaffrey. You know, at some point, McCaffrey's going to have to make a call. Do I, with the short lifespan I have left, having bilateral Achilles tendonitis, do I push this thing, or do I sit down for the year? Does Mason and Garendo become exactly what your boy's been touting over and over again? Maybe the second coming of the win-a-league duo, the Mason-Garendo combo, winning leagues yet again. I'm going to go Laporta here. Might just be. What do you think happens with McCafrrey, Sebastian? Does he, let's say Purdy's out 3 weeks and they decide to shut him down. Let's just say.
If they lose this week, though, I think they'll shut him down by like week 16, week 17.
McCafrrey? Yeah, I don't see him playing the whole year.
There's no point because he's committed to a contract next year, so there's no point to put that mileage on him.
I agree.
Because, I mean, it really this week is make or break the way that division is right now.
I hate to have my last 3 headlines have had Niner information in it or graphics, thumbnails. I think it's been Debo. Brock Purdy was in the breaking news show today, and then Brock Purdy was in the 8 p.m. No, he's in the 8 p.m. show today, and then the graphic tonight. So I have 3 straight Niners. I'm not a Niner show. I hate when people say that I'm a Niner show. I'm not, but the Niners have a ton of firepower to contribute to the fantasy football world. Like there's so many weapons on that team. So it's not like I like reporting on this, and Ayuk consumes so much of our offseason content, but it is a bit. There's McCaffrey, there's Ben Ayuk, there's Debo, there's Jennings, there's Kittle. There's so much ramifications to it. So like tomorrow, I hate to have yet another Niner headline show, but I might have a show that says, does McCaffrey get shut down before week 17? It's a conversation that needs to be had. Does Mason and Garendo win you a league? None of these things are for sure. These are in some ways hot takes, I guess, but they're logical hot takes. Purdy, not the title of this show right now, Purdy, does he get his contract? Guys, back out of here. For those that aren't, ready to go, hit this link. It's in the live chat. It's pinned in the live chat. It's in the description of the video, and it's code Smitty if you do it manually. Click the link, go in. We're going to jump into a draft. It's the draft tab at the bottom, the lobby tab at the top. You'll see the cards. Swipe to the 4th card. Week 12 Battle Royale, $7 entry. Click the green button now and jump in.
I think people are also forgetting, too, that, Vegas and the general public, they had them as the number 1 offense. Like in the entire league, and it wasn't really even close, like pre-2024 season. And the ADP showed Chris McCaffrey was number 1 overall. You had Ayuk, you had Debo, the 1-2 turn, and then you had Ayuk into a late 2nd round pick. So they had 3 players within the top 3 rounds, and all the money was on them. I think it was about like a +5 points per game ahead of like 2nd place. I think it was the Lions or something like that. In preseason, they were the number 1 projected team by far.
Well, so keep in mind they were projected to they were the favorite in every single game. Every single game they were favored. So yeah, they have, and they do have some of the most talent. They have the most talented roster in the league, probably by far. The Eagles are really close. There's obviously a lot of teams that have good talent. The Bengals are super ultra talented, but the Niners have the most talent from top to bottom. When you look at the defense, you look at Bosa, you look at Warner, you swing over the offense. You got Kittle, Ayuk was there, Debo, Jennings, Christian McCaffrey, amazing backup running backs. You have Trent Williams. Like from top to bottom, the Niners were the best team in the National Football League. And it really wasn't close at the end of the day when you break all of it down. I'm going to draft Mixon in the next one. I want to take Achane here, but it's crazy when you think about it, bro. It's crazy what's going to happen with CMC. That's going to probably be tomorrow's show. I hate to do another Niner-based show, but it's not about the Niners. It's about the players. But will Christian McCaffrey be shut down or shut himself down way before week 17? I think that's going to have to be a conversation we have tomorrow.
Oh, real quick, I have a question about the 28-year-old running back. History has shown that they're horrible bets. So, do you think this year's is an outlier? I mean, we had, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon.
I think that
Even
it's possible.
TMT per game was good.
It's a checkpoint, and I think more players break through the checkpoint going forward. Like Mixon will be 29 next year, and we almost have to give him the benefit of the doubt, like we did Kamara, and we did give Kamara that benefit of the doubt. Kamara is 29. We didn't run away from him because he was 29. Christian McCaffrey, 28. Look how that turned out. One of the best running backs to ever play did not make it past his 28-year-old season. So it's still there. It's a checkpoint. I think the thing that's going to make us take a dive and stab at it is value. If you've got to spend a first-round value, probably not worth it unless there's low mileage in a weird way. The mileage is balanced out different. Hold on one second. Let me make my selection. Let's go with Kelsey here. I think that what's happening, if I had to guess, and this doesn't relate to Henry because Henry got all his work up the gut, so he's the worst example for what I'm about to say, but he's the outlier anyway. He's somebody we don't consider because he's 30, and he's still crushing it. But with Kamara, with Mixon, there's a certain amount of divide of workload between pass catching and rushing that might squeak out another year. Also players are, in some cases they're coming out of college different too, so it's hard to know. I think that whereas I wouldn't have taken very many risks at all at 29 years old ever, let alone 28, I might take more stabs now. But not very much. Like we're talking one extra year. We're talking 28. I'm taking more gambles at 28 than I normally would if all looks good. If there's rationale behind it, good reasoning. But like with McCaffrey, it wasn't a good bet because he had been overworked to a degree we've never seen before. He was the highest percentage of his offense every year, year over year over year over year. So that was not a good bet in my opinion. I think it was actually a bad bet, which is why I told people to avoid him for the most part. I'm going to go, damn it. I'm going to go Evans here. I went Evans twice in a row. So to answer your question, it's going to be case by case, but maybe we give a little bit more leeway if the mileage looks good and all looks good.
Yeah, just to wrap up, at the end of the day, I mean, we all saw how quickly they moved on from Jimmy G. We saw how quickly they moved on from Trey Lance, who wasn't he like a top 5 overall pick?
Yeah.
So I don't see why they wouldn't move away from Brock Purdy. They've never. Well, I'm talking about the last 10 years relative to the 6 that they've had. They've never needed a Joe Burrow or a Patrick Mahomes in their offense. I feel like they really could get away with just lowballing the QB position. In a game
you know what's interesting? You know who is Shanahan's golden boy, his dream QB? Do you know who his dream QB is? He drools over him every year. He's wanted him publicly for a decade practically.
Derek Carr.
No. Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is his favorite quarterback of all time. Shanahan loves him.
Why though? Him and Brock Purdy are like the same player.
It's his type of quarterback. It's his favorite quarterback. It's going to be very curious what happens with Kirk Cousins once the Falcons are pressed to make a decision. If they don't go extremely far, they're going to have pressure to turn to Penix Jr. And rightfully so. And I agree with it because I'm a big, Penix Jr. Believer. So this will open the door, which in a way, and I see Ron Navy in here. Ron Navy said Penix Jr. In a way, this is good for Cousins because Cousins doesn't want to be a backup quarterback. And guys like Ron, and I understand it, believe in Cousins enough. They don't want to see Cousins eventually get flipped as the backup because they're going to make way for Penix Jr. at some point. So it will be very interesting to see if the Niners make a play for Cousins and the Falcons say, well, we didn't win. How far do we go will matter, but we're going to turn to Penix Jr. and let's trade Kirk Cousins. It'll be very, very interesting if that's the way this maybe goes.
I mean, it honestly could, but if I had to bet my money, Brock Purdy is not a San Francisco 49er next year. I just there's no way. I don't see a scenario in my head. I mean, yeah, they threw away Trey Lance. Like he never really got a shot. So I mean, who says they can't find a second or third round QB in the draft?
Young says, bro, that's never happening. The ship has sailed for Cousins at this point. Explain to me why, Young. Explain to me. Give me logical reasons, not because you don't think so or because you don't like Kirk Cousins. The question is, does Shanahan want Kirk Cousins? Not do you want him, Young? And the bottom line is, if the Falcons, and they will eventually turn to Penix Jr. They will, no matter what anybody thinks. They will eventually turn to him. Now, if Cousins takes the Falcons deep into the playoffs, guess who's getting another shot next year? Kirk Cousins. If Cousins falls short, even if it's not his fault, they're going to look toward the future most likely, or at least have a conversation about it. And could a trade, well, the dead cap has to be horrendous. I haven't even pulled that up yet. But we've seen teams say, screw dead cap. That's almost like a non-factor anymore. After we watch Russell Wilson, I believe, if I remember correctly, Russell Wilson's getting paid, $35 million by the Seahawks, if I remember correctly. Or, I'm sorry. He's by the Broncos. He's getting paid $35 million by the Broncos this year to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers for $1 million. So we've seen dead cap not be that much of a factor. It will be very, very, very interesting to see how this plays out. And let me go to Ron Navy, because Ron Navy's a big Kirk Cousins guy, and to see what Ron thinks about this conversation.
Go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and follow through the chat.
All right, later, Sebastian.
All
right, later. Ron.
Hey.
I mean,
yeah. I know you're waiting for Cousins' demise for some.
No. I'm not.
I don't think that'll happen. I think they had a bad game, but look who they played.
Yeah, but Ron, I'm thinking bigger than one game. Yeah, but Ron, I'm thinking longer than one game. I'm saying that if the Falcons exit the playoffs early, let's say, then the team is going to say, hey, it's time to have a conversation. Maybe they don't, maybe they do. It's just a conversation. And if the Niners are at the door saying, hey, it's Shanahan, we can make this easier on you, then all of a sudden the wheels start turning for this situation maybe. I'm not saying it happens, but Purdy's in a very vulnerable spot right now.
He is, but he's proven enough where they're going to give him a contract. They're going to stick with him, I think. My gut feeling says they're going to stick with him. Plus, he's young. He got injured, but it's not his fault. He didn't make
Jump in one more.
Sit out half the season. He didn't make all the
hit the green button.
That's all them. He's, even though he's had to deal with injuries and stuff like that, he's played pretty well. So, I mean, when I've seen him, he's played pretty well. And you can't pin the losses on him either. So
I don't know, Ron. I talked. I talked to a lot of Niner geared people, bro, and you know who I'm talking about. I have connections when it comes to fan pages, and it's not just Raj, but I have multiple people, and I can tell you right now, bro, that the consensus is not that Brock Purdy is the team's for sure future. Like they're sitting there waiting on how it ends, but if it ends badly, whether it's due to the injury or whatever, that the thinking is he has not earned yet. He is not off this season. This season he had to earn it. And he did not, whether it was his fault or not, was not capable or able to or had the potential or the opportunity to earn $60 million a year. So Brock is either going to have to accept something much smaller, or this isn't going to happen and they're going to move on. Now, again, though, there is a scenario where if Brock Purdy does come back next week, because he's out week 12, he's up in the air health-wise for week 13, the Niners win, find their way into the playoffs, even if they lose early, there's a real possibility the Niners have their backs against the wall and they say, what else are we going to do? And they do it. And they give him a deal maybe they shouldn't give, just like they did with Ayuk. Is Brock Purdy an elite player? No. Is he worth $60 million a year? Absolutely not. Is he a good quarterback? Yes, he's a good quarterback, but he's nowhere near elite, in my opinion. I think he is the product of being a good quarterback, one of the better pocket presence in the NFL. But that's one thing. That's not one of the better pocket presence in the NFL. Probably one of the better abilities to run Shanahan's system the way Shanahan wants it. So I think you're onto something by saying that they want him back. But I don't think if they can find an alternative solution that doesn't require paying him $60 million a year, they might look at it. But it really just depends on what happens. This is a hot take too. It's not like this is what I guarantee to happen. I'm just saying we're at a tipping point where if this thing goes in a bad direction from here, I think this kind of stuff gets talked about more and it steamrolls. But this tipping point, if things go back in the positive direction and Brock's able to come back week 13, they start winning, then that tipping point saved them. Think of it like last year when the Detroit Lions were crushing the Niners. Remember the tipping point? The tipping point was when Ayuk caught that horrible pass that bounced off the helmet of the defender. Ayuk caught it, and that turned the whole game around. Had that not happened, Brock Purdy would have thought of as being awful to a lot of people. But this turned around the thinking of Brock Purdy. It was a tipping point. I just think we're very, very close to a tipping point here for Brock Purdy. Could go either way.
Well, here's the, in my opinion, and I know you have a lot of people you talk to in San Francisco, and the thing about them is half of them want one thing, half of them want another thing, and then they swap it all out because last year, look, they were all calling for the defense coordinator's head until they started winning. And then they always call for somebody's head when they're not performing.
They do.
But then when they start performing, then they switch back and forth. They're flip-floppers. That's all they do. That's all the majority of the San Francisco fans do. They flip-flop back and forth, and they try to point blame at this player, that player, and everything else. And then if a player decides that maybe he wants to go find something else, they're so quick to say, go, we don't want you now. And all this other stuff. And so... But the thing is it's the upper management, it's Shanahan, it's the upper management of the Frisco that messed this whole thing up to begin with. We said it at the very beginning of the year that when they didn't do the thing with IU and they let it fester, he was going to get injured, which he did. He's out for the season. We were spot on about that. And then we also said that their season's going to go down the drain, especially after McCafrrey didn't play most of the season. And if they don't have McCafrrey, they don't win. That's a proven fact right there.
Yeah.
So what's Shanahan going to do? He's been to the Super Bowl, twice now, right? And lost it twice, or is it 3 times? I can't remember now. But he's lost it every time he's been to the Super Bowl. They're going to start calling for his head. It doesn't really matter.
Ron, half the fan base is already calling for his head. Half the fan base, go into any Niner comment section, any Niner post anywhere, half of them are like, Shanahan, you're gone, you're done. Remember all the roasting I got done to me on I know. So I agree with you. All I'm saying is that here's the problem too. Let's say the Niners do give Brock Purdy $60 million, or let's say they say, Brock, I'm sorry, here's 52, and Brock's like, okay, I'm a nice guy, I'll take it. Okay, so Brock takes $50 million a year, whatever. Let's say he inks that. Guess what Brock Purdy's going to turn into? A pumpkin. And I know he's looked good. I know he's played well. I get all that. I understand all that. But the problem is, just as you said, when McCaffrey's not in the lineup, and McCaffrey's not going to be in the lineup ever again after the season. He might be there, but it's not going to be McCaffrey. It's going to be a shell of McCaffrey's self. And that's going to turn this whole thing around. How old is Trent Williams? He's 97 years old. He sought out LeBron James this week to see how he could how he could lengthen his career because he's having trouble staying healthy. He's banged up right now. You've got Bosa hurt right now. I'm not saying Bosa is going to have long-term problems, but you have this whole team just falling apart. Kittle's older. This team is going to be a shell of itself walking into next year. So if the Niners do give Brock Purdy a long-term massive deal, even if it's $10 million lower than the $60 million projected or that was projected, it's going to be a Ayuk situation all over again where it's why do we waste our money? Brock is not going to look good. He looks good because he's a good game manager and he's surrounded by a tremendous amount of talent. Like the league's best talent from top to bottom, defense, offense, offensive line, top to bottom, the best talent in the National Football League. Bosa, you could argue, is the number one defensive player in the league. You could. I mean, I'm gonna say Trent Williams, number one offensive line. Christian McCafrrey, number one running back. Kittle, number one tight end if you consider blocking. He literally has number ones, not twos or top fives, number ones across the board on the entire team. It's gonna be a rude awakening how Brock Purdy looks when the lights come on.
But here's the thing that we know. We know San Francisco never does the deals that they should do. We know that they always try to play games. They always wait. They always end up shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, that's just the thing. And then you even said it yourself. Every time you try to guess what Shanahan's going to do, he never does what you think he's going to do.
That's true.
He always puts something off the wall.
That's true.
So you got to think about that,
That's
too.
true. So, hold on. So, I think that Shanahan, so that means he's going to sign to a $60 million deal. Okay, I got it. You're right. I mean, you're right. Look, Shanahan does exactly the opposite of what I say every time.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
You've
That's true.
said it over and over again.
It's true.
I'm trying to think what Shanahan's going to do.
But I do think in this situation, though, what it is we're at a tipping point. We're at a tipping point, whether people want to believe it or not, and it could go in either direction. So I don't need to be told how it could possibly go in the right direction. I get that. I see that. But it is a tipping point. And Brock Purdy, he has to come back and play well. They have to make the playoffs. If this doesn't tip back in that direction, and the Niners are so lucky, the 2023 playoff bracket is proof of it. The Green Bay game, they should have lost that game. The Detroit game, they were going to lose it. 99% chance of losing that game. It turned around. Their luck is extraordinary. And I don't know if their luck is run out, but if it hasn't, what they need to happen is Brock Purdy to go on a tear to make the playoffs and at least win a playoff game, let's say, and then they can chalk it up to, hey, we did good considering we're going to come back, you're going to retool. This is not our fault. This was injury that caused us to have a bad season. The Niner fan base could get behind that, made the playoffs, excited about the future. Let's ink Brock Purdy because Brock Purdy made some clutch plays to win the first playoff game. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they need to have happen. If it doesn't happen, Brock is going to look like let me put it this way. If it doesn't happen the way I just described it, Brock's going to look like a horrible decision and probably will end up being a horrible decision, even if Shanahan does go through with it.
Think about this, Smitty. Think about this, right? I don't think they make the playoffs. For one thing, look at the 3 losses that they've taken, right? The playoff teams. They've lost all 3 games to playoff teams. The other thing is what do those 3 playoff teams have in common that beat them is they rushed the ball over 100 and some yards on them, where the teams that they beat they gave up 70 some yards, right?
Well,
so now look at their schedule going forward. Green Bay is the 4th best rushing offense in the league. So they got to go to face Green Bay. Look at their schedule. I mean, their schedule is not favorable at all for them to pull this off.
No, but not only that, Ron. I mean, it really is as simple as this, too. Like, you're right. If they get through this week and next week, they still have a tough road. It's good. It's a good point for sure. But if they lose against Green Bay this week and the Cardinals win, it's almost all but over, given the fact that they have such a brutal schedule, because they'll be 2 games back, and the Cardinals beat them. They have the tiebreaker at this point anyway. And so it's going to be real quickly, guys. Go in Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Here's the link one more time. Underdog will match your first deposit 50%. So if you drop $100, they'll give you 50. If you drop the minimum 10, they'll give you 5. Go into the link that I just dropped. Battle Royale. Have the draft tab clicked, the lobby tab at the top clicked, and then you'll see cards. It's when you open it up, it should be right there. You're going to swipe the cards over to the 4th card, Battle Royale Week 12. Click the green button right now. Jump in. This may be our last one, but you can continue to do it all night long. All night. Let's go. Let's jump straight in. Here is the... Hold on one second. Let me get into the draft tab real quickly. Click active. There it is. Here's the draft board view. All right, we're good. Let me answer these super chats real quick, Ron. Pick 3, PPR, Myers, Downs, Watson, Waddle, Roschon. Probably Watson, Waddle, and Downs for me. Roschon and Downs are a crapshoot. Like, you could pick your poison there if you wanted to take a gamble, but I'd go with the receiver, PPR, if it's PPR. Week 11 sent CMC and Mason for Achane and Dobbins. I think that... am I a fool? No. I mean, I just went over and over and over and over why I think Christian McCaffrey could be a huge liability. Not that Achane doesn't have some sort of threat of, like, if he gets banged up, they sit him if they have no playoff hopes, but that's for a lot of teams. Christian McCaffrey even more so. I like that trade. I would have done it. I'd do it now. Baker or Bo this week? Ron, Baker or Bo this week?
Oh, man. Where are they playing?
Baker Mayfield is...
Are they playing in Tampa?
He's in New York. And then...
Oh, they're not playing each other?
No, Baker's in New York, and then Bo Nix is on the road in LV. So it's hard not to go Nix here. But Evans is back.
Yeah, I kind of like... I mean, honestly, I kind of like... I don't like Knicks this week simply because of Crosby's a force to be reckoned with. And I don't care how bad, but Crosby always, I don't know if he could rattle the Knicks. I think Denver will end up winning the game. I just don't think Knicks will have like one of his 300-yard games or anything like that. I think he'll probably have like 225 and 2 touchdowns. I think that Baker has a better game because
I'd say this. I think Baker is safer. He gets Evans back. Baker's safer. Bo Nix is higher risk, higher reward. So you kind of got to pick your poison there, handed.
Baker's even shown he can do it without Evans. He can do it without his top 2 wide receivers. He's got Otten. He's using everybody. The running back. I just like the situation better.
Yeah, but Nix is on fire though. Nix is higher risk, higher reward. But Baker's safer. Keep one in 16th. Keep one in the 16th. Rice, Olave, Shaheed, Diggs, JD5. Probably.
Because usually I'm wrong.
No, probably JD5, I would say, at this value. But, I mean, Rice is coming back from a massive knee injury. He probably gets suspended next year for at least, 4 to 6 games. Olave is a concussion concern the rest of his career. JD5, I'd probably say double R, but it's tough because that's a quarterback, and keeping quarterbacks over players because you can draft quarterbacks back is... I just think I'd go JD5. With Devontae Smith out, would you start Hurts or Goff? I'm still starting Hurts. Hurts is, anything can happen, and Goff's clearly capable of having a horrible game or an insane game. 4 interceptions, 5 interceptions, or 4 or 5 touchdowns, but Hurts is consistent, and he runs for 2 touchdowns in games where he doesn't even throw a lot, and it works out. Plus, you still got A.J. Brown, still got, Barkley, still got his crew. Is it crazy to start Eckler over Debo or Jennings? I don't think it's crazy. I probably would lean Debo because of his ability to run and the fact that Shanahan does game script a lot around him when he needs to. And it's tough to say. That's a really tough question, though. But I would probably go Debo myself. Go ahead, Ron.
No, I was asking how is Kirk's ankle looking? Because I know he's been nursing an ankle.
We don't know. You know why? Because Sirianni's trash. Sirianni and Shanahan tell us nothing, and they deceive us on purpose.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that press conference where Sirianni was asked, and he goes, "Yeah, Hurts is dealing with an ankle injury," and one of his PR, HR people or whatever leaned over and go, "He's not hurt," and he goes, "Never. I mean, he's not hurt." He's like, "No, what are you talking about? You can't take it back. You can't take back a double stamp after you triple stamped it. Like, what's he talking about?" Sirianni's a joke. Hold on a second. Let me make this pick real quick. I've got Gibbs and Jefferson already. Let's go with Let's go with Gibbs and Jefferson. Let's go with. I guess we'll go with McBride here. McBride, there we go. Okay, what was the question?
I was just wondering who's Detroit.
Oh, they're at Indy. They're at Indy. Yeah.
Doors. Oh, golf always. Golf always do that. He always tries indoors. If it was outdoors, I might say okay, but yeah, I think I don't know. This week I'd take Goff. Richardson, you never know what the deal is with him, but I just think Detroit has too much firepower. I mean, they're putting up massive points every week.
They might run the ball though too. You never know. One running back, one wide receiver PPR. J.K. Swift, MHJ Downs. I would probably go.
Look at almost 2 touchdowns and everybody. I mean, there's just enough to go around to have the running game and the receiving. So I don't know.
I'd go J.K. and MHJ on this question. Those are the two I'd roll with. Swift is banged up. He should be okay. He's inching toward being ready. So you could swap Swift and J.K. out if all looks good and he's taken off the injury report or something tomorrow or whatever. But I think J.K. is pretty safe anyway. And MHJ I think is going to have a big day. Downs and DJ Moore, tough to trust right now over those options at least. But that's a good question. I mean, you're going to get that wrong 60% of the time. Dowdle or JMO by a country mile. It's not even close. Like, that's one of the easier questions I've ever been asked in my life.
JMO doing good this year, except when he's not getting defended.
Yeah, he reminds me of Pickens. Just like at what point, what point will their talent be able to fully be, maximized, or are they going to run themselves out of the league?
I know you told me about the comment you made about the Browns, but you saw the other comment he made, right?
What was the other one? I mean, I think so.
Arthur's sister and said, "Fire this man now."
Yeah. Oh man, Pickens is a mess.
So you tell me which is worse: calling out your offensive coordinator or saying the Browns suck.
He's equally. He's not very bright. He's not very bright.
But he's right. So,
but he's not very bright.
He's right. The Browns suck.
Okay, but yeah, you can't operate like that in life.
Arthur Smith sucks.
He's a big baby. He's a big baby. But Pickens is a big baby.
They all are. Though.
But he's worse than.
But
bro, Ron, come on. Like, Pickens is flirting with like absolute insane behavior. I have an open flex position: Hunt or Worthy. You got to go Hunt this week with Pacheco still out. This is also one of the easiest questions I've had.
Worthy had a game though last week. He was using Worthy a lot.
Yeah.
Worthy, I think got more points than Hunt did, didn't he? Fantasy.
Last week,
targets every week.
You can't say that team just beat you. Yeah, look, that's the other thing. Hoosiers. I know that Ron's a little biased because he's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, but yeah, like just what a poor choice of words and way to carry yourself when you just got beat and you call the team that beat you not good. It's like it's absolutely asinine.
The Steelers are not playing good either. I mean, I'm being totally honest. I said it the other day. They're 30th in the NFL in red zone opportunities.
I know, but Ron, there's no way to defend Pickens here. You can't defend Pickens here. It's a bad look. The way he is conducting himself is embarrassing. It doesn't mean that Pickens isn't a bad physically. He's a great player. He's a great player, but how are you defending him?
But he is. He's shown it over and over again. I mean, he just makes these awesome catches all the time, right? And when you're playing your heart out, and you know that you're not getting the ball or your offense isn't doing good because your offensive coordinator.
Ron, you're reaching here. Yeah, you get frustrated, but you say things like, behind closed doors. You don't say fire this man right now where everybody can see it. You do it behind closed doors. You don't say to a team that just beat you, hey, they're not very good. You could say they fought hard. They got a lot of great talent. Winston conducted himself very good at the end. He was very clutch, and we need to do a better job. That's a leader, Ron. You don't say, oh, they're not a very good team. Come on, Ron.
All these wide receivers, they have one thing in common. They start causing drama when they no longer want to play on the team.
I know, but that's bad. That's bad, Ron. But that's bad, Ron. That's my point.
I'm not saying it ain't bad. I'm saying he wants to go somewhere else, and he's making sure that when time comes.
But you're kind of defending him. You're defending him.
I'm defending his talent.
That's not what we're having a conversation about. Never once have we had a.
Look what Ayuk just did.
Ron.
Look what Ayuk just did. He put his team through all that mess, right?
And
he was a diva. Look at all these other divas. Look at.
But Ron, never,
same thing.
Never once have I said Pickens doesn't have talent in this conversation. This conversation is about Pickens being a fool.
Yeah, but that doesn't take away from his talent.
It does, though. It affects his talent. No, Ron, very, very opposite of what you just said. It's putting him in a like I said from the beginning. Let's back up to while we even had this conversation. I said J-Mo and Pickens are so talented, but will their talent never become maximized because they're going to run themselves out of the league or run themselves into a horrible spot where they can't maximize their talent? Pickens is on track for that. Pickens is making mistake after mistake after mistake. He's not allowing himself to mature. He's not allowing himself to become a leader. He's not learning those things quick enough, and he's going to get left behind. He's going to turn into Deontay Johnson before he turns into a superstar wide receiver. That's the problem.
He'll never be a Deontay Johnson. He's got too much talent to be a Deontay Johnson. He's going to end up on a team. A team would be crazy not to take him on, and he'll find a team to go to. And probably won't be pissed.
Jump in one more, Marcus. Jump in one more. This is the last one. I'm jumping in and hit the green button now. Go ahead, Travis. You're live.
Yeah, I think Ron's right. Another team will take a chance. Will always take a chance, but because he is, a top 10 type talent in my eyes, which I think you agree with. But I think as football is, the game is just changing, and things are just changing with the game and how people are brought up and the atmosphere. And it seems that there's always divas, but it seems that there's less and less divas. Like you have guys like MHJ and Amon Ra, and like Justin Jefferson, C.D. Lamb. You don't hear much. I mean, they'll stick up for themselves when they need a contract. They might be a little bit of a diva in that way, but they've found a way to mature.
But here's the bottom. But here's the bottom line, though, Trav.
Pickens is having trouble with that.
But here's the bottom line: you're getting in your own way, and there's no way Pickens turns into the ideal player, the ideal ability that he has. There's no chance that he doesn't get in his own way here, Ron, and either botch his situation and end up somewhere where he fails out because he thinks the grass is greener and he just screws himself. But that's the problem. Is Pickens is not. He's not he's the problem. He thinks everybody else is the problem. So when he goes somewhere else, he'll have a problem there too. The problem is teams will not put up with this so long. So what I'm saying is he might be an amazing talent, but he's getting in his own way, and he'll eventually not flourish.
From going to New England, screwing Brady there, and then going down to Tampa Bay and winning a Super Bowl.
But did his career fall off, Ron? It fell off way prematurely. And he had developed into a much bigger star before he had ventured off. Pickens is at the very beginning. The problem with Pickens is he turned into AB too early. He doesn't even deserve to be acting like that right now. At least AB had accolades and abilities that made it like, okay, he's worth the gamble because he's such a head case, but this is Antonio Brown. Pickens he can't even hold Antonio Brown's jockstrap in terms of the accolades and the production that AB brought when he turned into an absolute diva that was uncontrollable. Pickens hasn't done anything yet. He could do it. We all I know Ron, but if you
he's frustrated with his offensive coordinator, and he's frustrated with Russell Wilson. Freaking, he saved Russell Wilson. He's the one that made Russell Wilson look good. Russell Wilson's crap.
You hear other people?
Yesterday, how many sacks did he take last week? And how many times did Arthur Smith's offense just screw up?
Ron.
So he's right. He's frustrated.
He's not right. He's not right, Ron. Ron, he's not right. Come on. Stop with that. He's not right. He's not right.
His feelings are understandable, but you can't say it out loud.
Russell Wilson's a good quarterback.
No, Ron. No, you're not. Ron, you're not hearing Smitty. You're listening to him, but you're not hearing him. No one's suggesting that he doesn't have the ability to feel that way or that his feelings aren't right. He's not right because of how he's acting. He's acting like a buffoon. And for you, out of all people, I am actually shocked that you aren't coming in here saying, "Hold on, Ron, hold on."
Look at his coaches.
Ron, hold on. Out of all people, do you hear other people saying this? What other teammates are saying this? What other teammates are acting like this? And second of all, I thought out of all people that stand on principle like Ron, and I'm not saying this in a negative way toward. Hold on, Ron. Hold on. Let me say this.
Before they got rid of Deontay Johnson, Deontay started acting like that.
Okay, Ron, hold on a
got
second.
rid of him.
Hold on a second. Let me finish this. And I don't mean this as a negative toward you or your character or anything. I'm just merely saying, out of all the stand on your principle people in this world, I thought it'd be Ron that would come in and say, you know what? It's one thing to do what he's doing, but it's another to tell the team that just beat you that they're a bad team. I don't think they're very good, and it's the weather that caused us to win. I thought out of all people, you'd be like, that right there, I lost so much respect for Pickens because he acted like an absolute buffoon. And the disrespect he showed the Cleveland Brown players, a good defense. Okay, there's a lot of good in Cleveland. It is a headless horseman type of situation. It's not their fault that they don't have a quarterback. It's the organization's fault, but this is still a good team at the core. There's a lot of good components here. If only they had a quarterback. But for him to come out and say that they're a bad team after they just beat them, they just put it on them, I think that's crazy. I think that's absolutely crazy that you don't think that was a despicable display of Pickens.
You are forgetting one thing, Smitty. You know how much I hate Tomlin. You know how much I hate Arthur Smith. So if Pickens is out there making it difficult for Tomlin and Arthur Smith, I'm all for it.
So you're biased. Just admit your bias in the situation then, Ron.
Control him, and the fact that Tomlin cannot control him as a head coach says huge things to me and everybody else. The fact that Tomlin couldn't control AB says huge things to me and everybody else. The fact that Tomlin couldn't control Deontay Johnson says everything. So yeah, I'm on Pickens' side right now because he's making Tomlin look like a shitty coach.
So you're at least admit you're completely biased in your take. At least admit that because you were okay. Thank you. Okay.
gone.
Let's wash our hands of this conversation because Ron, there's no argument here.
No, but I have my reasons.
Say that from the beginning then, because it's making it look like you're trying to defend this man's pitiful actions and act like they're not. But here's the weird thing though, as I still feel like you didn't wiggle your way out of this by giving me that. You didn't, because at the end of the day, you're still telling me you're still telling me that Pickens might not be hampering his future. That's basically what you're telling us, that Pickens might not be stepping in his own way. And that I think you're wrong on. Your inability to see that is
how many receivers have we seen act up and then go somewhere else and be perfectly fine?
You think that's what's going on here? You think that's really what's going on here? You don't think this guy's going to go just like Diggs, wherever he goes, he'll just be upset. You think that Pickens is specifically mad at this situation, and if you grab him and put him somewhere else, he's not going to be a cry. His character was shown, Ron, when he was asked about... Ron, if you hate Tomlin, fine, but his character was shown when he was asked by reporters, what do you think about the weather? And he says, the weather is the reason we lost. The Browns aren't a very good team. We shouldn't have lost to them. They're a bad. I don't think they're a good team. I don't think they're good. That is his character. That's going to get in his way. It's going to get in his way.
Yeah.
I'll almost guarantee it.
It could, but here it is you don't think, I mean, you think that it's going to get in his way, but you don't think he could go to another team and actually get with a coach that's worth the crap and soar and learn more? He could, or he could flop on his ass. He could do either or.
The one issue with that is that, and I don't like Tomlin. I'm not a fan. I'm with you on Tomlin, Ron. But Tomlin is a player's coach. And so if he can't get along with that, how's he going to get along with someone that's tougher on him?
He's a player's Tomlin. You know it as well as I do, Travis. He is he's a player's cheerleader. That's all he is, a cheerleader for the players. That's why they like him so much. But when it comes to discipline and locker room discipline, he sucks. When it comes to winning the games and getting the teams ready for I mean, look, we keep giving up over the middle, right? So, I mean, it's not just the offense, it's the defense. We lost to Dallas. We let them come all the way back and score and beat us, right? Did the same thing with Baltimore. Baltimore almost came back and tied the game because our defense wouldn't hold, and they did the same thing this game. So there's a problem there with the defense. There's a problem with the offense. There's a lot of problems with the Steelers right now, and everybody's got their eyes shut because, Tomlin's on his way to another winning season, and that's all that matters to people that put him on a pedestal. But they're going to fail. They will not at this. With Arthur Smith there and Tomlin there, they might make the playoffs, but it's going to be the same old one and done. Same old mediocrity. And the same people are going to...
Hey, real quickly, I know, Ron, you're a big fan of both these guys, so I'm hoping you give me an unbiased take here, but I think you're in bias zone right now. You're in a total bias zone right now. Addison, Akine. Pick one.
Oh, my God.
Those are
I love Addison.
His favorite players.
He's actually come on.
He has 5 touchdowns in 6 games. Ron could have a jersey that was not Cousins. It'd be Addison or Akine.
I had a bunch of Akine last year. Nobody gave him a chance
5,
this year.
4,
he's actually out and surprised.
3, 2, 1. Set your lineup. 1.5. 3/4. Ron.
I'm going to go with
which one, Ron?
Addison.
Ray, I probably would go Addison as well. I think Addison he's by far more cemented into the game plan, even though Akine's been unbelievable though. But Addison's
the one thing with Akine is last week it's still great, but it was a 98-yard touchdown. So he had 100 yards, 98 of them on one pass.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, cemented.
He's still making it happen. But
yeah, Jaden Reed or Tony Pollard. Jaden Reed by a country mile, Josh. Thank you for the question. I think Jaden Reed has a good day. Plus, Bosa's out, and this is gonna be I think it's gonna be a rough defensive game for the Niners. They're already struggling.
Watson's been having good games lately too.
Yeah, Jordan, you're live. What can I do for you, Jordan? You're live.
What's up, Smitty? Thank you for all you do, man.
Yeah, man.
Another great artist.
Appreciate
I
you.
just had to tap in on the Tomlin conversation and the Pickens.
Okay, go ahead.
Pickens was the best player on the field on Thursday. But like you said, when he came to that interview, he became the biggest baby on the field that day. Tomlin is the most winningest Steelers head coach. He did it last year with Pickett before he had Wilson, before he had Fields. He made it to the playoffs. I mean, you can't be disrespecting Tomlin, man. He's one of the best out there.
Hey, wait a second.
Hey.
What's his playoff record? What's his playoff record, buddy? What's
He
his
made
playoff
it.
record? We all know
He
he's
made
never
it.
had a losing season, but what's his playoff?
He-
When he won the Super Bowl the first time, who did he win it with? With Cowher's coaches, Dick LeBeau and Arians and all that. And then when they left, he hasn't won a Super Bowl since, has he? Nope. And how many playoffs in the last 11 years has he lost? So don't give me that Tomlin crap. He sucks. He cannot win the big game.
He got 2 rings, man. He's got 2 rings, man. He knows what it takes.
What?
He got 2 rings, man. He knows what it takes.
100 times better coach than him. Cowher was a better coach than him by a mile. Cowher, look at their playoff wins. Look at their playoff records. Compare it. Compare Cowher to Tomlin. Go do it. Get the stats. Read the stats.
But Jordan,
Tomlin's been doing with what he has, he's been phenomenal.
Because he can't develop coaches. You don't hear anything about Tomlin's coaching tree, do you? Nope, nothing at all. But you heard about Cowher's coaching tree, huh? Arians, Wisenhunt, all those guys. Cowher had a coaching tree. He doesn't. And the other thing is Tomlin's never been able to develop a quarterback because the quarterback was already developed in Big Ben by Bruce Arians before he even got the job. So Tomlin sucks. Don't tell me blow smoke up my ass about how great Tomlin is.
we got a user we got a user chat question real quick. Hold on.
Cameron Kaplan, Ron's a little Pickens like tonight.
Cameron says Ron's a little Pickens like tonight. Here's what I'll say though, real quickly, Jordan. Tomlin, similar to Shanahan, you could really liken these two together right now and compare them. Everybody says the same thing. Hey, is that Niner Matt? Niner Matt, what in the hell are you doing?
Good God.
He's in the kitchen with pots and pans, it sounds like.
Okay, I hung up on him. I don't know what in the hell. It sounded like a toilet flushing or a Tin Man. I don't know.
Oh, it was pots and pans.
Anyway, what I was trying to say was you've got Shanahan taking his team to the playoffs, getting to NFC Championship games, and you have to at some point ask yourself, okay, is this coach going to continue to get me there but fail? And when do you pull the plug? And how crazy is it to pull the plug on a coach that, in Tomlin's case, keeps winning, in Shanahan's case, keeps getting them deep into the playoffs? But at some point, it's like, what in the hell do you do? Do you continue on the same course over and over? Now, Ron makes good points, and I think the Tomlin supporters are as wild as the Tomlin haters. I'm not as much of a Tomlin hater as it appears. Like, I do think he's got good abilities, and he's obviously really solid in the preseason or in the regular season. I do agree with Ron. What has he done in the playoffs lately? But I would.
I'm not even a Tomlin supporter.
I would.
He needs to be respected because of what he puts together year after year.
I agree with that.
This year.
I give him.
How many? Like, what are they in, 4th right now? 5th in the NFC? Like, they're looking pretty hot for me in the Steelers, and we did not expect that.
But the problem I have is how he treated Fields and how he doesn't see what he did to Fields. Like how Fields was absolutely.
I'm with you on that.
He absolutely earned his shot, and Tomlin never gave it to him. And Tomlin acts like he's so right about this Russell Wilson
Tomlin's
decision.
a narcissist.
He's not.
Tomlin's a narcissist, and he's always got to be right.
Well, there comes a time when you're stuck in mediocrity too, and that's a tough place to be. Just sitting in that
And we
one
are.
spot.
At some point, every team needs a change, and with coaching and everything, this whole thing that I can be the coach for life, but when you're not getting the results, then at least Shanahan's taking them to NFC Championship. We can't even get past the first round, or we miss the playoffs altogether.
I mean, at what point, Justin, do you? At what point? What is his playoff record? Can you find the exact record?
Whose record do you want?
Tomlin's. As a head coach, his entire head coaching career. Find his record. At what point, Jordan, do you say, okay, regular season be damned? Now I do have to consider that this is something that you can't keep saying, oh, he's amazing during the regular season. He's amazing during the regular season. He's amazing during the regular season.
I say when you turn into an Andy Reid, I'm a Chiefs fan, so he was one to be losing. Have those great regular season teams get to the game and lose, right? He was one of those guys. I would say when you do something like Andy Reid has done with the Chiefs, then you can say that. But hey, Tomlin does have 2 rings as a head coach, at least. I'm saying, I know that was 16 years ago.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like Bill Belichick,
12 years
what
ago.
do you do with Bill Belichick? You say, oh, Bill Belichick. Like Bill Belichick was awful at the end. Like at some point, you can't use 16 years ago. This question right here: start DJ Moore, Debo Jennings, sit one. I probably say, I guess I sit Jennings, but only because I don't want to start both Niners, and I feel like Debo is going to be game planned in more, but. That's hard. If Purdy were in the game, I would want Jennings, but I think I go Debo and I sit. And then this one here, trade Pickens. If so, for who? In redraft, I would try and go after a plethora of guys. You could consider using Pickens, MHJ. You could give up more and get Collins. You could give up go get Evans and give up more and get Evans. You could go after DK potentially. You could give up. You could go after McLaurin. You could give up more. Or give up less, get more, and get like Brian Thomas Jr., like a Pacheco combo, like something like that. Neighbors is interesting, but there's some problems there as well. So I don't know if you're just getting into another, bag of mess. But it's a good question. But Pickens is going to be hard to trade for like one person. You're almost better off going like doing a 2-for-2 or something like that. Ron, did you find the record for Tomlin?
Yeah, and in fact, Tomlin's only won one Super Bowl as a head coach, and that was with Cowher's team. He lost the other Super Bowl he went to Green Bay. And he did get a Super Bowl when he was with Minnesota, or not Minnesota, but as an assistant coach, he got a Super Bowl.
8-10 is 8-10 correct?
But 8-10 is his playoff record. Out of 17 years, he's been head coach. He's 8-10. That's sad. That's sad.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
That's the Super Bowl that he went to and he won. So consider he had his wins. Most of his playoff wins came in the 2 Super Bowls that he went to.
That's right. I said you're right. That's not wrong at all. I agree with that.
No, and then if you look at Cowher's playoff record, it's so much better.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to compare Cowher. Look, what's been his in the last 5 years? What's been his playoff record? Can you look at that?
Like
it's probably bad, man. It's probably like 1 and.
I mean, like
so
going back
when he's 8-10.
2019 they didn't make it, so 0-3 since 2018 and 2019 they didn't make
let me just say this, okay? 0-3. So 0-3. Yeah. I get some of the people saying I don't understand the Tomlin hate. Like maybe the disrespect to what he's done in the past. I get that. Like if he's being spoken of as if he hasn't accomplished anything, or he's a overall trash head coach. And I never said that. I've said that right now Tomlin's making grave mistakes that are going to repeat the 0-3 trajectory that he's currently back, I think, on. That's what I think is going to happen. The Steelers are going to be back where they have been, continuing the same mistakes, because Tomlin he's not understanding his quarterback position. If anybody disagrees with me and you want to complain in the chat, call in and debate me on it then. Like, this guy hung on to Pickens for how long? He hung on to Pickens for how long?
And he just signed a contract, didn't he, Tom?
I just don't want to talk about
In the last
Cowher,
10
but
years,
Cowher had a
3-7 in
12-9
the last
playoff
10
record.
years.
He keeps going back to
He was
Cowher.
161 and 99 one time.
Ron reminds me of my mom.
Percentage.
Just back to Cowher.
He had a 5.71
Cowher's not around.
winning percentage.
We can't use
Oh,
Cowher.
he's around. He's just not coaching. But he was a lot better coach than Cowher.
Okay, well, no one, but no, I'm not debating that. No one's here to debate that. I'm just merely saying that if you're 0-3 in the recent 5 years, you can't understand your QB situation. You haven't since Ben Roethlisberger. It seems to me,
And it's gone beyond that.
yeah, it's gone way beyond that. It seems to me maybe Kyle Shanahan and Mike Tomlin have the very same problem. They don't understand their quarterback situation or the position they put their team in, and they don't understand which direction to go. They don't know heads or tails of it. It's the bottom line.
So Tomlin's under contract till 2027, and Wilson's only under contract for 1 year. Is Fields under a 1 year contract?
Yeah,
as well?
Fields 1 year. 1 year, yep.
So yeah, he hasn't figured it out. He put all his chips in this 1 year. I don't know if he's still winning, so he's not doing anything in the draft. I mean, you can always draft a good QB second, third round, or what have you. But I agree with you. He's not doing anything good with that QB room. He's had Pickett.
Pickett was garbage.
He brought in Russell Wilson and Justin Fields now. He's taking away Fields' opportunities.
To think Pickett was going to be good was wild to me. Pickett was garbage. But since Big Ben, you haven't done anything. That's really the bottom line. I'm not saying he can't. And maybe a change of scenery would be good for him in a way, but I'm not saying he can't continue to have winning seasons or anything I'm not saying that. I'm obviously, guy knows how to put together a solid team that can scrape by, and he does do a lot of scraping by, but it's a gritty team. That's his style. He'd rather win by 1 point than 10. It's just the way he's built for some reason. But I mean, to not understand that Fields was in a position to become something special, your first special quarterback, he needed cultivating though. No one's trying to suggest that Fields was playing at the level he needed to play at to be as good as I think he could have become. My problem, and I've made this abundantly clear, but people don't hear me, is that Fields was held back the entire time he started for the Steelers this year because he was playing Russell Wilson's offense. He was running a system that was held and waiting for Russell Wilson. You never showed confidence and said, you're our starter. He never once said, he's our starter. You know, and then if they wanted to make a change later, he could do it without announcing it or something. He could just rip the rug right out from under Justin Fields' his feet. But instead, he decided not to instill confidence. And he is so invested into this Russell Wilson, he can't see clearly. And he thinks, and when they won that first game with Russell Wilson, the way he ran to the tunnel, the way he acted so excited because he felt like, oh my God, I'm making a mistake. I know he did down deep. And then it worked out. And he was so excited that his gut instinct was right when at the end of the day, it isn't. They just have not enabled Fields. They haven't. And Fields is broken. And Fields was not fixed. They could have fixed him. They decided not to.
Didn't he give Russell Wilson a game ball one time when Justin Fields was the starter? I thought that was
Sounds
weird.
right. Is that true?
I thought that was so weird. I thought that was so weird. And then, okay, I have two things to say real quick.
Is that true? Is that true? Can anybody
Yes.
can anybody verify that?
it
Not
is.
that I don't believe you, Jordan. Not that I don't believe you, Jordan, but I need some confirmation on that one. That is wild. I'm surprised I didn't hear about that.
Russell Wilson a game ball of some sort. I really didn't understand that. But in all totality of it all, Tomlin is solid. And that's all we can really say. He's just solid. Not
Sure.
good enough or great enough to make it past the
Shanahan's
playoffs
solid.
game.
Shanahan's solid
Just
too.
solid.
Shanahan's solid too.
Just solid. And then also,
But that's it.
this is a wild take, but in the flag football world, they got what they call a star, which is where you keep two quarterbacks on the field, basically. I think it would be so interesting. And I like how they've been using Fields the last 2 weeks, trying to incorporate him in with Wilson to get those extra yards. Of course, they're using them on the ground and stuff. They're kind of using them like a Taysom Hill Wildcat, which is cool. But I would like to see the NFL evolve into using, I don't know, maybe like two quarterbacks in the backfield. Maybe have Najee and Justin Fields back
Taysom
there.
Hill is the closest thing you're going to see to that, and it's working well. But it just, the problem is you can't, like, here's the problem is, like, you get a quarterback in the NFL, there's very few that don't run anymore. And so you kind of already have that threat. You got people in a rhythm. It's just a different game. But I think that there is a world where you can have slash type players. Like, they want to turn Fields into that, but Fields doesn't want to be that. And Taysom Hill's the perfect example of that, and he's been looking amazing. So, I mean, I hear you. I don't know that you're ever going to have a consistent team that's going to be able to, win championships. Having a rotation where you're pulling your starter out, but it's interesting for sure. And if you have the right slash type talent like Fields that wants to play that role, or you don't give him a choice, I agree that. And they try and use them like that, but it's hard. It's also hard if you're the starting quarterback and you get pulled. You know what I mean? Especially if you could run a little bit too, and you're just like, why pull it? Why pull me? And the guy's cold coming off the bench. It just doesn't really fly. I think what you would have is if he could be a full-time wide receiver that could also throw, and you just have 4 or 5 plays, 6 plays a game where he's lining up in the backfield in the Wildcat, and he's throwing 2 or 3 passes a game like that. I think that would be more the case. I think subbing in and out is a problem, but what you're saying on the field at the same time, what you need to do is develop a wide back that can throw the ball. That would be an interesting thing.
Some kind of lateral into a pass play. You're double passing the ball. I think that would be pretty cool to see.
And there are some players
that's a long shot.
There are some players that can throw, obviously that have, and they continue to each year, but
receivers and running backs and stuff like
but you need a wide back for sure. Problem is, though, the reason that doesn't really come to fruition is because, you try and put Fields as a receiver, he's never going to pick it up enough to be a very solid, consistent, not a liability type receiver. So you'd almost have to have someone like Travis Hunter coming out of college that does it all, and you immediately start using him as a quarterback, like that type of thing. And I think that could happen.
That's interesting.
That could happen, but
that's interesting talk right there.
You've had a lot of receivers that were quarterbacks that got converted in the pros to receivers that were quarterbacks in college. I mean, look at New England. You had one up there,
Edelman.
right? What's his?
Yeah, Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
Edelman.
Yeah, Edelman. He was a converted receiver, and he would also throw the ball every now and then.
Let me go to Niner Matt real quick, who's been waiting a while. Niner Matt, what's up? You're live. Thanks for putting down the pots and pans.
Yeah, my bad on that.
What were you making? What were you making?
I was putting dishes away.
Okay.
Ron called it out.
It sounded like you were in a kitchen, bro. Like you were in a restaurant.
I was putting dishes in the dishwasher.
No, it sounded like you were in like a big kitchen hall or something. All right, what can I do for you, Niner? What can I do for you, Niner Matt?
I was just calling about the whole. I mean, Ryan was talking about Tomlin and the whole banana hand thing. Being a Niners fan, you're talking about getting the NFC championships, but that's not what 49ers play for. They play for Super Bowls, dude. I'm more frustrated as a Niners fan. At least you've won a Super Bowl in this millennium. Being a Niners fan is a lot more frustrating.
Let me ask you, since you're here, and let me ask you, since you're here and you're a Niner fan. Hold on, Ron. Hold on for a second. Hold on a second, Ron. Hold on. Niner Matt, are you feeling what I'm feeling? That Brock Purdy is at a tipping point where if this thing goes the wrong way and he has an injury where he sits out the remainder of the season, or let's say he misses 2 or 3 games, they miss the playoffs, he plays mediocre because you've got your entire team injured, and if Trent Williams ends up not being able to stay healthy this year, like, do you think that Brock Purdy is on the tipping point, or do you feel as a Niner fan he's getting his contract no matter what?
That's a $1 million question, isn't it?
60 million.
I mean, yeah, 60 million exactly. Me personally, like, I love Brock, but I don't think he's worth that much money. I mean, how many quarterbacks have the Niners been through, Smitty? I mean, how many Bananahan got killed? I mean, Jimmy G can't stay healthy. I know Brock Purdy's a little better than him, obviously, but
he is.
What I'm saying. He's been there for, this is his 8th year, and how many quarterbacks has he been through? You can say the same thing about his running backs.
The problem is he's no better than a. I want to say Jared Goff, but I think Goff is just a better quarterback right now. But like, he's not better than Jared Goff. He's not even Jared Goff right now. He can play to that level at times. What's funny is how many Niner fans used to get mad at me when I said, could he become Jared Goff? Yes. And everybody would be like, yeah, Jared Goff, he's a top 5 quarterback, Smitty. And they get so upset at me. They thought he was better than Josh. Like, they would just laugh at me. I'd be in Niner chat groups, and I especially I'd go live on Instagram with Raj and all of his followers, and there'd be like 500 people. I'd be like, do you guys really think, all 500 of you watching right now? We had 500 people in there. I'm like, do you believe Josh Allen is not as good as Brock Purdy? And they were like, oh my God, Josh Allen, are you kidding me? Like, they had no idea. They literally genuinely believed that Brock Purdy was better than Josh Allen. They just couldn't see straight. Like, they're Niner fans. They're invested in their team and they can't see straight. It's fine. They got Niner goggles on. But clearly that's not so funny anymore. But I used to say, I think he could be Jared Goff good. And they're like, oh my God, did you hear what he just said? And that's my whole thing, is he wasn't Jared Goff to me yet. And I don't think he is yet. But could he be that good in the Niners system with the weapons he currently has? Yeah, I think he can. But what happens when Bosa's Trent Williams is gone? What happens when McCafrrey is a shell of himself next year? And what happens when they bring Ayuk back and that's not meshing well? He's trying to get back from injury. You got turmoil in the wide receiver room. Are you really going to start Jennings over him when you're paying him $30 million a year? Like, what in the hell is going to happen there? Like, and Kittle's a year older. What happens to Brock Purdy? I don't think he's as good as he is when this team is healthy and in the shape that it was before the season began. I think Brock Purdy's going to turn into a pumpkin. Not that he doesn't have good qualities. Not that he can't be a starter that lingers for a while in the league. Look at Baker. I mean, Baker was not a good quarterback. Now Baker's a great quarterback. Like, sometimes it takes people a while. And could he become that someday? Yeah, but right now, if you strip all of these pieces away from the Niners, like you're seeing in pieces right now, like McCafrrey off, Trent Williams out, Brock Purdy is not the same guy. And I just don't know how he's going to get there when this team's going to be bare bones next year compared to what it is walking into 2024 preseason.
See, my thing, Smitty, I think Bananahan's he's holding them back, man. Like, I mean, he's holding the whole offense. I don't know if you watch Niners games, but the dude's play calling is just trash. Like, it's so vanilla. I mean, you got Jordan Mason, who's leading the league, or top 3 in rushing through week 1 through 8. Dude's got 3 carries the last 2 games.
Yeah, how do you not continue to use him?
I agree with that.
It's ridiculous.
You bring a guy back that's coming off bilateral tendonitis, he could tear his Achilles at any time. And,
Bro,
and you're just
I
throwing
feel
him out there to the wolves.
I feel very vindicated on all my Shanahan takes over the years. Like I feel very, very like it's funny how much hate I got on it, especially from my Niner buddies. They just thought I was a moron. Like, you guys think Shanahan's so good. He's not. He's a good offensive coordinator that has a lot of limitations. And you know the problem, the biggest problem is when he's a head coach. Think about it like this. You work the kitchen, right? You're the best chef. You're the best chef in the world. Okay, but you're asked to run the restaurant, run the finances, run the books, manage the bar, manage the bartenders, manage the training, manage the hiring, manage the P&L, everything, the meetings, the corporate meetings, the advertising. You're in charge of everything. Are you really going to be a good cook anymore? Like that's the problem, is everyone thinks he's a good coach. He's not a good coach. He's a good offensive coordinator, and he's becoming a shit offensive coordinator because he's trying to do too much, and he's not good at any of the other stuff. He's horrible with personnel. He's horrible with deciding who to bring in, what quarterback, how to deal with his quarterback situation, contracts, when to sign them, when to not sign them. He's an absolute travesty to this organization, and it's taken this long for Niner fans to understand that when they win, it's his offensive coordinating shining through, and when they lose, it's he's a horrible head coach, and they just don't know it yet. And now Niner fans are starting to realize he's not meant to be a head coach. Not yet.
Smitty, am I wrong in needed? Do you think the Niners need an offensive coordinator? Because when McDaniel was there, I mean, he was the genius behind everything. You said it before.
They need him to be the offensive coordinator, bro. I just got through saying he's a horrible head coach. And he wouldn't be. He's not going to take a demotion. But when he gets fired, he will. When he gets fired, if and when he gets fired, he'll become an offensive coordinator somewhere and have success. He needs to be an offensive coordinator. He's never going to take a demotion. But if you ask me what needs to happen, he needs to be an offensive coordinator for the team. They need a head coach. He's not going to take that. He's going to have to get fired. But that's the problem, is somebody put him in as a head coach, and he is not a head coach. Could he become one someday? Look at Baker. Baker was trash. Baker became a good quarterback. It's possible. But right now, Shanahan's in his own way, just like George Pickens. All right, boys, I'm going to close the phone line down. Final thoughts, Niner Matt. Go ahead.
Just one quick thing. Do you think the Niners? Do you think they should go with Dobbs, or do you think Allen? I mean, do you think it's just Allen can be his little puppet and knows his offense better than? I mean, you think that's why Allen's starting over Dobbs?
Very good question. Right, very good question. And let me respond by saying this is why Shanahan's a horrible coach. This is why. What did I just get through saying for about an hour and a half now? Shanahan does not know how to manage his personnel. He doesn't know how to manage his quarterback situations. Dobbs clearly earned the start. Look what he did in the preseason game. Like when he came back in that amazing display. Dobbs, and not to mention, remember what I said earlier in the day about DeVito? I'm not saying DeVito's going to be good. I'm just saying that when guys like Tyrod Taylor or Ryan Fitzpatrick or Browning or whatever come in for a short stint, defenses don't know what to expect. There's a lot of goodness in the beginning, and then it starts to really kind of sour. Dobbs is the perfect epitome of that. Like, he could come in and spark a fire, win a couple games, and then he gets out of there, and then you don't have to watch his downfall. But to not start Dobbs over Brandon Allen is just more of why Shanahan should be fired immediately.
I think most Niner fans think that too. So
yeah. All right.
I just wanted your opinion.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Niner Matt. Appreciate you. Coach Gump. Coach Gump, you got 30 seconds because I'm on the way out the door.
Oh, you're on your way out the door. I got two big questions and a survey question. Two big questions. A big question is, does Jim Schwartz go to the Niners to be that coach again? And then Jim Harbaugh and Jim Schwartz go at it one more time. The Jim Bowl.
The Jim Bowl.
Yeah, the Jimbo. And if Goff is out one game and Hendon Hooker plays really good, does the Lions trade Hendon Hooker to the Panthers for 2 first-round picks?
What is going on here?
And then take one of those picks.
What is going on
and
here?
Christian Watson from the Packers.
Finish him. Call terminated.
I don't know what the hell just happened there. All right. Look, to part of your question, Gump, is yes, no, no, yes, no. I don't know. I don't know what in the hell direction you're talking about there. Does Hendon Hooker start for a game, get traded for multiple first rounders, and do we go get trade for Christian Watson? What in the hell just happened? I appreciate you, Gump, but I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that nonsense. So I had to let you go. But I appreciate you, Gump. You know that. Gump gets hung up on more than anybody. TMT says, how's the Mars Man, Moon Man leagues going? I will have an update on that one of these days here soon. Let's do it after this week's games and start going over the playoff picture. Hoosiers, appreciate you. Russell Wilson only did poorly because the Browns are terrible. That's a funny comment. Thank you, Hoosiers. Appreciate you. Jordan, final thoughts?
That Gump question was crazy. But all I got to say is, man, thank you for opening your platform to everybody, man. Letting everybody have a voice. Nobody does it like Smitty, the fantasy football show.
Thank you, pal.
And everything. I'm going to win the championship times 2 this year.
Attaboy. All right, appreciate you, Jordan. We'll see you later.
Yes, sir.
Ron, any final thoughts?
It's been a fun night.
The good old days.
I needed this. Good.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I did. I do have something. Do you feel that the Chargers, Herbert has done better than you expected him to do this year?
Yes.
So far.
I would say yes. I would say Harbaugh has done a pretty good job, I'll admit. Do I think he's wild? I do. Do I think that his team responds to it? It seems like they do. But here's the rub. Here's the problem. I don't think Harbaugh is good at building his team. I think Harbaugh's good at managing and coaching his team. I think if he had handed, and I know this sounds very arrogant to say, because I've never, it sounds almost stupid, but that's fine. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Is I'm a talking head and I have an opinion and whatever. If you gave me control, I could have handed him a championship team that he would have coached to perfection. The problem is he made a disaster of it from the beginning, and had he just I don't know why you would get rid of weapons, why you wouldn't have gone after a running back, why you wouldn't try and bring in Saquon Barkley at all costs. Like, that is, if I would have done that, I would have handed him Saquon Barkley. I would have probably brought him in a receiver. Not that Ladd isn't looking good and Ladd's playing great right now. I would have brought him in. I would at least kept Keenan Allen instead of getting rid of him for a ham sandwich. Okay. So you have Keenan Allen at least. Let's just give him Ladd. Let's even give him his first round offensive line selection, which didn't fit because you had Slater in his position. You had to rotate over Joe Alt. I would have handed him a much better team, but he is very good at coaching what he has in front of him once all is said and done. That's all I'm going to say. It's not that he isn't a good coach. It's not that he isn't a good motivator. He's weird as hell and says some of the wildest stuff I've ever heard. But his players seem to respond to it. But do you remember what I told you, though? The Niner players got tired of it. And they got tired of his raw all the time at some point. Like, you could only stomach it for so long. And that's why he was so good in college, is because players would be in and out in 3 years. And by the time they get tired of it, they'd be out. There is some sort of wearing down of his style, though. We'll see how that works in the next couple of years. But I just think you hand him a Barkley, and the team goes crazy. Like, what are you doing bringing in J.K. and Gus? And not that J.K. hasn't done well, but I just don't get why you wouldn't have brought in Saquon Barkley. You didn't even attempt it. You didn't even consider it.
Quit Quentin Johnston, he's done better than I expected him to do so far this
Yeah,
year.
I'll admit he's caught some passes, but he's still not a
They
great
moved him
player.
to the big slot position. They stopped trying to make him like big
Yeah, that-
outside receiver.
Yeah.
That did help.
Passes, but they
That
put
did
him
help.
to more of like a Debo-ish role.
That did help, but he still, he was showing no signs of being able to catch the football all off season. So, I mean, he's definitely improved a little bit, but he's not a great football player. He's good. He's good. He's good, I guess. He's like Mike Williams. What's he ever gonna really do?
Yeah.
Mike Williams is so wild to me. The kind of excitement people have over Mike Williams in the media. They're like, Mike Williams, bring in Mike Williams. Like, what do you mean, bring in Mike Williams? For what? For what?
Yeah, the first game, Steelers, they threw. He got a long touchdown pass, and they haven't used him since in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Not even thrown to him.
All right, Ron. Appreciate you. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Rah. Later.
Take it easy. Later, Travis. Later, chat.
Pickens.
Run.
Pickens is a despicable disgrace, Ron. See you later.
Finish him.
I haven't hung up on Ron in a while. Chase for Brees and Lamb. Wow. Brandon, I'd say if you can afford not to trade Chase, I'd rather just keep him. If your team is on fire and winning, you got 7 or 8 wins. Why mess with what's working? But if you can't win with Chase and you're answering that honest question about your team, or there's just 2 or 3 teams that are just better than yours, you could take this gamble. But what if Lamb does nothing in the final 3 weeks because he sits out and then you're traded Chase away? I would say probably, as good as this sounds on paper, it's probably not the right move. But depends on your situation. Bijan owner needs a QB. Herbert or Kyler, Pickens, Tracy. I don't know what this question is asking. Bijan owner needs a QB. Herbert or Kyler, Pickens, Tracy. What in the hell does that mean, bro? You guys got to stop using the slashes like I understand where you're headed with that. I have no idea what you're asking me. I would say if I'm giving one away, I'd rather trade Herbert, keep the running Kyler Murray. But, that could go either way. Pickens, Tracy, I don't know what this is reference to, but I'd say I'd rather have Pickens over Tracy based on that talent. But good God, could he screw it up? Interrupting Ian, you're live. You got 10 seconds because I got to go, bro.
Here you go on Devo and CMC. How we feel about this week?
Watch the beginning of the show because I go over all that. But I would say in general, CMC probably gets a lot of work this game as Shanahan tries to win this game because his job is on the line. I'm sure he feels a little bit of that. The playoffs are on the line, so it's not like they're not going to abuse CMC. Shanahan's proven he could care less about someone's health, really, from a usage perspective. I'm not saying he's trying to get someone hurt on purpose, but his mentality gets people hurt. Is give the ball to him. Look, I think it was Jordan that was on the line. I think it was Jordan said, "How do you not give how do you not give Jordan Mason carries when he's the league's leading, rusher through so many games, handful, right up to CMC came back. Jordan Mason was the number 1, I think, in 3 different major running categories." And you don't give him any work. You just throw Christian McCaffrey, who doesn't look good between the tackles, who's getting it's right around 3 to 3.5 yards per carry. He looks good catching the ball in open space, but doesn't have the burst yet. He looks kind of quick, but he doesn't have the strength. And you're not running Jordan Mason. So, what was the question?
So if I interrupt you for a second.
Yeah, I forget what I was saying.
How do we feel about the line pressing up? Purdy's not in. Line's pressing up.
What are you saying, bro? What are you saying?
McCafrrey.
Pressing up. What are you saying? Pressing up? I can't understand what you're saying. Pressing up? Pressing up?
Yeah.
Pressing.
Everyone's getting.
Okay. I just couldn't understand it.
Getting pressured up.
Pressured up. Okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know what he was saying either. I think that two problems, bro. If Trent Williams doesn't play, this is going to be a disaster on offense. Absolute disaster. You got no Purdy. You're not even going with your running quarterback in Dobbs. You're exciting. I can do it all myself, Dobbs. Like, that's what he does. He comes in for this moment. This is like the guy you call when there's a disaster and you need someone to clean it up and not tell anybody about. You call Dobbs. Dobbs comes in, cleans it up, and he gets the hell out of there. And you have no idea what happened. How'd he do that? I don't know. He just cleaned it up. Like, I'm not saying he's going to do it very long. He's very sparing that you use him. You don't pull out the cards very often. You just say, call this guy. He'll take care of it for one game. You call Dobbs. Dobbs comes in, cleans it up. What's Shanahan do? Let's start Brandon Allen. If Trent Williams doesn't play, this is going to be a debacle on offense. You already have Bosa out. It's going to be a debacle on defense.
I mean, like, who am I to ask? Who is Brandon Allen? Like,
no one knows.
What has this guy done?
No one knows. We think he was selling hot dogs a couple weeks ago, and they called him up and said, "Hey, we want to ruin our season. Why don't you come in and play quarterback for us?" He's been on the roster. He's just not a very good prospect. Dobbs proved himself already in a Niner uniform. He proved himself, and Shanahan's punting the opportunity to put the guy that can. What?
He was with the Bengals for a little bit. Nothing special.
Yeah, who knows, bro? Who knows? All right, hey, I got to go, bro, but it's not looking good for the Niners. That's all I'm going to say. All right, interrupting Ian. See you later, pal. Appreciate you. I feel like that's maybe why we called him interrupting Ian, because on the way out, you just kind of heard him. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Don't know what he's saying. Interrupting Ian. We'll see you later, pal.
Finish him.
Okay, hold on. Gump's calling back. Speaking of people we keep hanging up on, let's see what Gump has to say. All right, Gump. Gump, what is it? What can I do for you? Hello, Gump. Gump, did you butt dial me? I think he butt dialed the phone line. Hey, Gump. If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try your call again.
But when they call me in, I'm low. Where do I?
What's he saying?
It's at the drive-thru or something.
Yeah. Let's listen. Let's listen for a minute.
I think go back around.
He butt dialed the phone line.
Oh, really? That's all I need to know. Where do I back into once you give me a door? Where would I be at?
What's he backing in right now at freaking 2:13 a.m.?
You give me a door, where would it be?
Is he getting a coffee? Hey, Gump. Hey, Gump. Hey, Travis, can you press down the buttons to make a loud sound with the buttons? Does that not do it? Here, let me hit this.
Take a big lap. We don't.
Gump? Gump? All right. I think I'll hang up on him. Yeah. All right. All right, Travis, anything else?
Just two things quick. I missed a little bit earlier, so maybe someone was out of it. If Purdy isn't with the Niners next year, I could see him on the Jets. I can see the Jets going after him for sure.
Yeah, that could be. Let's see who Ziggy thinks the backup quarterback is in San Francisco. Ziggy, Who's the backup quarterback in San Francisco? If he says Dobbs, I'm going to lose.
Brandon Allen is the backup quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers.
Ziggy off. Yeah, he might have been updated, though, from...
And the other thing was Russell Wilson didn't get a game ball. I sent him the link to it.
Wow, really? He got it. Fields wins the game.
Yeah, week 2.
What was the reasoning? What was the reasoning?
The title of the article says, Russell Wilson gets petty game ball. And then I guess they have a quote. Justin Fields said, everyone knows Russ got done dirty after the win. He received the game ball after his new team defeated the Hunters.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, because it was the Broncos.
That's unbelievable.
Because it was his old team.
That's unbelievable.
Because it was the team that he crapped the bet on, and they shipped out.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Smitty, are the rule changes for Cowboys Thanksgiving Day for sure thing? I don't know, Cody. What's Cody referencing? What rule changes?
I don't know.
That they can't have loose metal objects hanging from the rafters. Is that what we're talking about? Samuel says Smitty obviously hates the Niners. LOL. Hey, Samuel, call up. Call up, Samuel. The phone line. Call into the phone line, Samuel.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Explain yourself. Anthony with a $20 hauler. Anthony, oh God, I'm so sorry this has been sitting here.
Too much.
Anthony, you still here, bro? Good God. Anthony, I'm sorry. I'm going to give you, if you're still here, I'm going to give you a standing ovation, let you cook, bro. I apologize. Right side, or should I trade Walker 3, Kenneth Walker the 3rd, Bowers, Nix for Bijan and Kelsey? Woo! I would definitely take Bijan and Kelsey. If you got JD5, I'm definitely taking the gamble on that. I'm definitely taking the gamble on that. That's solid. Are you still here? Anthony, please tell me you're here, bro. I'm so sorry about the wait. I have JD5, 12-man PPR. Somehow I'm 6-5. I feel like I can win it all. Should I just sit tight? Let's see here. Did he give his full team? Let's see. JD5, London, St. Brown, like that. McLaurin, like that. Kyron, Corum, Tillman. So, little light at running back, but Bucky might step up for you. I think you could. Oh, no, you got Bijan and Kelsey. I forgot. I'm reading his team. Is Anthony still here?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So, his team is JD5, London, St. Brown, McLaurin. Then he's got Kyron, Bijan, and Kelsey. Absolutely could win it. 100%. Like, and without even looking at the entirety of the team, all the teams, I can tell you right now, you've got to be a top 3 team. So you for sure can do that. And that was an excellent move. Walker, Bowers, Nix for Bijan, Kelsey. Do it live. God, is he still here? I don't see him responding. Anthony. Appreciate you. I just showed you the number, Samuel. You're already starting off on the wrong foot, bro.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Literally just showed you the number. Samuel, where are you, bro? Or Anthony. I'm sorry, Anthony, where are you? Anthony, please let me know if you're still here. I'll give you a standing ovation. Who knows the phone number? I just showed it to you. I don't even think Samuel must be like 15 minutes behind. Jeez, bro.
Yeah. Might be.
Here's Gump again. Gump, are you butt dialing us again, Gump?
Yeah, it's me again. I just want a big question again tonight.
Hold on, Gump, hold on. Gump, hold on 1 second, Gump, hold on. Hang tight. Anthony's here. Anthony, appreciate you.
Let him cook.
Anthony, I'm sorry about making you wait on that $20 hauler to the moon.
To the moon.
To Mars. To Saturn. So, Anthony, I just wanted you to know that I responded. Love your team. Bijan move is perfect. Your team's easily, without even looking at the rosters, top 3. Let it ride, sit tight. Love the squad. Kyron, Bijan to the moon. St. Brown, love your team, bro. JD5 is worth gambling on. Thank you, Anthony, for dropping that. Okay, Gump, Gump. And by the way, Samuel hasn't called in yet. Gump. Do you realize? Do you
remember that game? Do you remember that game where Schwartz and Harbaugh had it out? We went to shake his hand, and that's why the Lions fired him. Remember that?
Gump.
I remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, also, is Schwartz the defensive coordinator for the Browns?
Gump, do you remember when you butt dialed me just a few minutes ago?
I'm sorry. I just seen that after the lady told me where to park.
What lady? Where are you at?
I'm over in that place, another place, Belvedere or something like that.
That place.
Illinois. Miracle. I'm delivering the cookies again. Christmas cookies.
I don't understand what's. Okay. So are you a?
But anyway, what I'm saying is, Benny Snell's career was ruined by Tomlin. Benny Snell.
Okay.
No, remember Benny Snell?
I do.
And I also say that Schwartz is going to be a head coach.
Okay.
And I bet you a 3-piece chicken dinner from Popeyes on that one.
Okay. I'll take it. You know what I think is going to happen? I think I think if Shanahan does lose his job, which is no lock, Ben Johnson becomes the head coach.
Be honest with yourself. If you own the team, who would you want? Ben Johnson or Jim Schwartz?
Ben Johnson.
Come on now.
I'm living in today's NFL where the Detroit Lions look like straight fire.
Well, is Schwartz the defensive coordinator for the Browns?
Yes. Correct.
Okay, who won that game? Who won the game?
That doesn't matter. What I'm trying to tell you is I think Ben Johnson's
won that game. He beat Tomlin down. He did.
Finish him.
He beat him down. Should you be happy?
I gotta go. There's no talking sense to you, Gump. There's no talking sense to you, Gump. Gump, I appreciate you. I'm gonna let you go because I got to get off the phone line here. Appreciate you, bro.
Think about the sports thing, all right? Think about the sports thing.
Okay.
Finish him.
Good God, I swear that guy wears me out. There's not very many people that wear me out, but Gump wears me the hell out. I don't even know where.
All hopped up on the Christmas cookies.
I guess, bro. I like Gump though. Gump, if you're listening, I like you, but there's only a certain amount of doses I can take. And we hang up on you. It's tradition. You butt dial the show. We hang up on you. It's tradition. Samuel, tradition of not calling in when you pretend you're going to. That's Samuel. Hey, what's your phone number? I'll call in.
Take a big lap. We don't need your head ass coming back now. Take a big lap. Take one and you don't come back.
Wrong. Get lammed.
Samuel, go get a coffee. All right, Travis, I'll see you later.
Yeah, good one tonight. Talk to you later.
All right, later. Ron made it spicy. All right, later. Ron was out of his. He was in his realm. I wouldn't say he's out of his realm or out of his pocket. He was normal Ron tonight. Ron was very biased. very, very, very normal Ron like tonight. Appreciate all the super chats. Start Jonnu over Kittle this week. Probably. Yeah, Jonnu's been on fire anyway. And not to mention Gonzalez is out. And so I think that Tua and the Dolphins are going to have a field day in the passing attack, which is another great reason that Hill is going to have that bounce back game. And Achan's going to go crazy. Jordan Love or Knicks? Probably Jordan Love. Bosa out. Probably Jordan Love. Appreciate you all. See you all later. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Live whenever big news breaks. Live most graveyard shifts like this graveyard shift right here, midnight. We go live about midnight Eastern. That's our graveyard time. See you all later. Appreciate my mods. Appreciate all the super chats tonight. Appreciate Anthony with a $20 hauler. You straight up monster, Anthony. Thank you all for the supers. Appreciate everybody's super chat. Appreciate Gump. Drive, Gump, drive. Thank you, Peanut Butter and Waivers. Appreciate you. Thank you, E111. Thank you, Freedom Guy. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Togo. Partially Togo. Togo's kind of a hater, but he is and he isn't. Casey, appreciate you. Garrett, appreciate you. Chris from Vegas, my boy. Hoosiers. Sick Nasty, moderator. Travis, moderator. Blackbeard, if he's out there. DeBalt, new moderator. Space Ricky, Sick Nasty, if I didn't say it already, Vampy, Terry Roberts, and Kenny Powers. Did I get all the mods? I always forget somebody. KJV, appreciate you. Ray G in the house. Matt, Kermody, D-Town. My boy D-Town. Chris from Vegas is my boy. Bubba Gump Strip, that's right. California 420, appreciate you. Cody, I already said Cody. Schwartz is the man for the job. TBR, appreciate you. Bear down, says Cody. You better bear down for a long season. All right, peace out. I'm out of here. Thank you, Island Boy. Appreciate you. Island Boy.
Take a lap. Take a lap. Take a lap. Take a lap.
Wanted. Wanted. The top most wanted outlaws. The top most wanted outlaws. These outlaws are on the run. Wanted. Smitty, can I just ask you one thing? Can we do karate in the garage? Wanted. These outlaws are on the run. 'Cause they're wanted. Dead or alive.
People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.